Hey, what's up, everyone? Nathaniel Martin here, and today I'm going to be doing the second Full Sail vlog. As you know, I'm trying to document my whole journey through Full Sail, usually in milestones. I've been going to Full Sail University for one whole month now, at least 1 month of class. I've been down here in Orlando, Florida for about a month and a half. I finished up my first two classes. My first classes were creative presentation and psychology of play. Creative presentation was like a speech class for people who don't necessarily like speaking, but more analyzing and learning how to effectively communicate without sounding unprofessional. And I think it was a very valuable class. I'm definitely going to be able to use a lot of what I learned in day to day conversation, but also in my career profession as a filmmaker. It's a collaborative field. You gotta work with others, you gotta work well with others, more importantly. And that's something I value a lot. So I'm glad that I took that class, and I'm glad that it's one of the first ones because uh, I'm gonna learn a lot about communicating with others through my journey. The psychology of play class was like a mix between a psychology class and like a mental health class. It was a lot on how psychology directly affects you as a person, not necessarily like in theory this is psychology. Like it's very literal and it's very personal, which was a refreshing psychology course to take. Again, really helpful with the industry that we're in, or at least most of us are in a creative like media or entertainment driven industry. So learning how the mind works, or more specifically how your mind works, is crucial. I learned a lot about balancing a schedule, and one thing we had to do in the class was every week make a schedule of like things we were going to do, and there was four main activities. There was play, so things you like to do, things that you find fun. So for me that would be watching movies or playing a video game every now and then, reading books, stuff like that. Then there was fit, which was like either preparing mentally or physically your body or your mind get better to learn faster, stuff like that. So a lot of like exercising, but it could also be something like meditating, like doing mind puzzles like Sudoku, or that like Unblock Me game for iPhone. Then there was also work, which was stuff that you kind of have to do, stuff that you don't necessarily like but you might be good at. For me that was a lot of the school work, a lot of the online work for these classes, as well as making and editing videos. Some videos I've uploaded recently were like projects for something, or they were just for fun. So then it could kind of be like a mix between work and play, and that was probably the most beneficial thing I learned the whole class, was being able to mix activities. And then lastly there was push, and push are things that make you go a bit out of your comfort zone, trying new things or learning new things for the first time, and that's extremely valuable. So my first month of class was extremely strange because Hurricane Irma came through the southeast coast, and people were panicking. There was a lot of like, oh my god, we're gonna be doomed. School closed for a whole 2 weeks. Full Sail was very vigilant about letting people know about a day in advance, sometimes a whole weekend in advance, if they'd be back at school. So people who went home or people who left the area knew, okay, I should probably make a flight back today, figure out when I need to get back. However, they were playing it day to day, and they were playing it by ear. So Full Sail didn't have power from the moment the storm hit, which was like Sunday. They didn't have power till the following Sunday. So yeah, campus was closed for like 2 whole weeks, and it was very hard to understand, what work do we have to make up? What work are we still doing? But everything was still online, and everything was still, you were able to do it. While the storm was hitting, I actually left town. I left the area. I went and visited my girlfriend in New York City, helped her get moved into her apartment and stuff like that. Thankfully, I didn't have to be here during the storm. I heard it wasn't as bad as people were saying, at least in the Orlando area, but still, it was a lot off my shoulders. I came back and our power was on. My roommate stayed, and he said we barely lost it, so I was able to get right back into the work, and a lot of students weren't able to start working until like Saturday, 2 days before school started, is when they got power. A lot of people were kind of struggling to get work done, but it was there online. It was available the whole time. if you went to like a McDonald's or whatever and used their Wi-Fi, you could have done your homework assignments. But yeah, it was a lot of work. It was all the same work of being in class the 2 weeks, and then there was makeup assignments for the classes you couldn't be in, and if you didn't do it at all or you couldn't do it at all, then you were kind of hosed because you had to do 3 weeks worth of work in one final week of the class. I could understand that being very stressful. Thankfully, I was able to stay on top of it. I know a lot of other students were too, and I was willing to lend a helping hand to anyone who needed help catching up or needed to use our internet or Wi-Fi to do work, but no one really followed up with me. One thing I've noticed about the classmates that I have, a lot of them are really cool people, and a lot of them really work hard and get their stuff done, but there's a handful of students that really just don't give a shit, and that kind of doesn't make sense to me because Full Sail's not a cheap school. This isn't a community college. This is a very, very expensive private institute. I don't know why you would throw away $80,000 by not caring, not participating in class. I know that comes with work ethic, and a lot of the people are like me and straight out of high school. But if you're gonna come to Full Sail and you're just gonna try to like coast by, or you're gonna make fun of people that are trying their best, then this probably isn't the school for you because you're not gonna get the most out of it. From what I've learned, Full Sail is one of those places where you get out what you put in, and this is just me saying this for my first month. I don't know what it's like come toward the end where bigger projects and potential career opportunities are available. I think I had like a 98% in both classes or something like that for a majority of it. I'm still waiting for the final, but I got all A's all through all 4 weeks. Not worried about my grades at all, but I also put in a lot of time. I started my homework early in the week. I did all the online assignments on time before they were due, before teachers were having to remind you. And every Full Sail policy is every day you turn in an assignment late, that's a whole letter grade off, a whole 10%. So there were students who would do good work, but it was 2 days late and they'd immediately get a B instead of a 100. And that's kind of sad to hear, but at the same time, it makes sense. Full Sail's trying to prepare people for the industry, and the industry isn't going to take 2 days late. This is really a place for people who are willing to work hard, work on a tight schedule. But in terms of overwhelming schedule, I haven't witnessed that yet, at least in my degree program and at least in my first month. I was talking to some students who are trying to juggle 2 classes a week and a job, and I could imagine that getting pretty stressful. While campus was closed, I decided to shoot a video on the back lot, and it wasn't like a professional video. It was actually a thank you for an award that I was nominated for in case I win. It's the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Student Production Awards. Me and a group of my friends were nominated for a couple national awards, so I made a thank you video project that I wrote and directed. I'll leave a link to the project in the description. Put a lot of effort into making sure it looked good, and I was just on the back lot. It was the day before school opened up. They announced that they were going to have school that day, but campus security was still there. I believe they were there through a majority of the storm. They kept on patrolling the area. I had a couple security officers come up to me like, hey, what are you doing here? And I had my ID badge on, or at least around my camera so they could see, but they were like, campus is closed, and I wasn't breaking any rules by being there on the back lot. But they were just like, making sure everyone is safe and that I knew the campus was closed and wasn't waiting around for anything. So that was pretty helpful, knowing that even if the school's closed, even if campus is closed, security's still there. It's still a relatively safe spot, and if you need to work, their Wi-Fi was up, so there were people chilling on the benches and stuff, typing away, doing assignments, but not many. It was pretty vacant. Also, I went to my first NXT or WWE wrestling event that they host at Full Sail, and it's a pretty big deal. From what I gathered, the underground new talent brought to a bigger stage. It was a good time. I went with a couple buddies and made a couple new friends there. I'm not previously a wrestling fan. I've never really watched or cared for professional wrestling, but it was cool to see live. I have an experience in broadcasting actually. This past summer I spent 4 months doing an internship for the Columbus Clippers, who are the AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Indians. So I was actually watching the camera guys a lot, and they were using the same equipment in the same the same shots, the same stuff that I used and did for my whole summer. So it was really interesting. I think I might be able to get an internship or some sort of experience with NXT come a few months down the road. They advertise it. They say they need helping hands. I did see like ushers that were Full Sail students, but it was all in all a good time. They actually did that the Thursday before school opened back up on Monday. So there was actually a lot of controversy on Full Sail Connect, which I believe I said in the last episode is like a social media catered to and only used by Full Sail students. There was some controversy. It was like, why the heck is the wrestling event still here if I haven't been in school in 2 weeks? Like, people were getting a little heated, but WWE brought a giant generator. It was the size of a semi-truck to power the Full Sail live venue for one night to continue with their schedule. I mean, they have a television show that airs 4 times a month. They need to make sure that happens. So I didn't really understand why students were getting heated. Like, I get they obviously want to get back into class and they're spending a lot of money going to class, but you don't really need to complain that someone who's using the space was using the space the same time they originally scheduled to use the space. It sounded like a lot of complaining and a lot of nitpicking. I also got to witness another class starting orientation. One of my friends from back home started class in creative writing. They had a networking summit and the same stuff that I was talking about last month. I, again, think that's really neat. There's a new class every single month. I actually witnessed a graduation about 2 weeks ago now, maybe 3. It's constantly changing. There's always new faces on campus. There's new people to meet and new people to collaborate with, most importantly. I'm really looking forward to working with people on film projects, getting to know people. I'm going to try to start keeping these episodes a bit shorter. However, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments or like on Facebook. Leave comments there. Wherever you see this video, just leave a comment and I'll be sure to answer that question in the next episode. The next episode will probably be in a couple weeks after I'm starting to get used to my new class. I haven't started it. I don't start it till tomorrow, but I'll probably start discussing that, maybe some more things I've picked up or things I've learned about students, work ethic, stuff like that. Yeah, have a good one.